Do you just think it's going to make money or is it actually going to make money? A lot of times people get into stuff and they don't understand the money making part of it. We were talking about something and remind me of the steps again, because you do this when you talk about monetizing your life. There's kind of 4 steps to it.
This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. So in business, there is a big difference between what you think will work and what will actually work. So today, Rob and I were going to do a case study, and we are going to talk about, in this case study, how this particular person has an approach they think will work. And as coaches and consultants and people that have done some business, we see that it might not work unless they just lift like crazy and all this. So Rob, what are your thoughts on this case study? Now, you've kind of, I've sent you a little, script on who we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be talking about.
Yep.
And I would really love if we could share 30 ways that in 30 days they can make some Ks. So 30 ways, that's a lot of ways. We've come up with some things that we believe can help this particular person. And I've done the research, Rob. They've got a keyword rich niche.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the trauma niche.
Yes.
Right.
So
She's
much
certified. So much stuff that could be unpacked.
Yeah.
But I think her main revenue generators, as you know from the sheet I sent you, is basically a podcast approach. And I kind of says, but as an entrepreneur,
right,
and a coach, we have to kind of let people see that perhaps this might not work.
And I think, when you get into it, one of the things that people run into is, and you said that the question that you led off with was perfect, right? Do you just think it's going to make money or is it actually going to make money? A lot of times people get into stuff and they don't understand the money making part of it. We were talking about something and remind me of the steps again, because you do this when you talk about monetizing your life. There's kind of 4 steps to it, right? It's learn, create. What's the last 2 steps?
So it's learn, create, get paid. Right now, there's a step missing, but that's where you might need the help. Learn, but think about this. Anything you learn by end of day. Now, this is the kind of pressure I put under myself and people I coach. I says, listen, by end of day, create from what you learned.
Exactly.
Position it so that you create a digital doorway to dollars, therefore getting paid.
There you go.
Right?
And I think that what a lot of people struggle with, and like you said, in that intermediate step, that's where they need a lot of help, is they don't understand how to get paid from what they create. So, for example, this lady has a podcast. The question that you first have to ask yourself is, how do podcasts get paid? Right. So there's a couple of different ways the podcasts get paid, but the main way that podcasts don't get paid is by getting listened to.
Right.
That's what most people think. Most people think that Joe Rogan makes the money he makes because people listen to his podcast and he gets paid per stream. He doesn't. He gets paid because people listen. People want to advertise, people want to sponsor, people want to be associated with, people want to be affiliated with, people want to put their products on, etc. His podcast. It's like Facebook makes no money from having 2 billion users. Facebook makes tons of money from having Facebook ads, from having games that go on Facebook, from having the data sets that they can create from those users, because even without your name, the aggregation of all of your tendencies and all the rest of that with AI, we can put together a package of an avatar of the people who click on the same things you click on. And we can say they do this 30% of the time, they do this, and people will buy that data set because they're trying to sell to that group. So the monetization piece is what a lot of people miss. And I think with this podcast, that's what one of the things she's missing. Like in that trauma space, what do you have? You have therapists, you have coaches, you have retreat specialists, people who do these retreats for people who are struggling with trauma and all the rest of stuff. You can have all of those people where you're affiliates with them, And every time you're doing a show, you look at the show that you're about to do and you say, who are 5 businesses that are working in this industry that have an offer that I can promote during this show? And you go out to those people and you have them joint venture with you. So one of the ideas, right? You have them joint venture with you that you promote the retreat or the conference or the coaching package or whatever it is on your show. And every show you make money because people click the link, go pay them, and you get a kickback.
That part is critical. So now what we're doing is, now those kind of are traditional means by which you says, hey, would you like to sponsor this podcast kind of a thing? But you're just going a little bit further, right? You're saying, I have an active group of X amount of people that I send to every single week on my list, whatever it is. You want your stuff in front of it. So this is one way, in addition to what Rob is saying, that you can, how do you then do the work? Now we talk about high level stuff. You could do this. Here's how. One of the things that I did for her was I took her video, one that she had made, and then I put in sections with the sponsors with the name. Now for her, it was just her stuff. For like 4 different areas on the video that would just show up and then fade away. And I thought, oh my gosh, right? When I first saw that somewhere, I thought, this is interesting. And every time it showed up, I would look over there at it, right there in the left-hand corner. So that's one way that, and now how do you then go out and attract these particular people is that you show them yours. Hey, this is what I could do for you, to my active group of. Now, what I'm suggesting is, even if you're just starting off tiny, have, just a couple people, you give them a chance to get in on at founders rates. Say it like that. Would you like to get in on the founders rates? Because once this thing gets popular in such a way, right? So you're letting them know this is the game. Founders rates could lock you in. Grandfather, grandmother, grandniece, granddaughter, whatever you want to say. Rates. Give them an opportunity to go in the space that you're in, and then they get a chance to what? They will look at you and see how many other digital doorways that you have out there, and they might start clicking around. This is the key. This is why I talk about digital real estate a lot. This is why I talk about how, I help you do it, how Rob helps you do it, creating these doorways into your stuff. Because once people kind of go, who is this person? Then they go, oh my gosh, they got this, and they see something out there, and they might buy from you before they buy big from you. Rob, you were talking about just big ticket versus little ticket items, right? And we all get fascinated by the big ticket. Break that out for us.
Yeah.
Because people are talking it.
Yeah. And you all have probably heard this, those of you all that are out in the entrepreneur space, you got one camp that says you want to do the kind of acceleration model, right? Or the accumulation model, where they buy one small thing, and they buy another 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 thing, and finally they buy this big thing. And then there's another group of people that will say, no, you don't want to do that. You want to start with the high ticket offer, and that's all you want to do because that's how the big people make the big money. And the reality is, neither one of them are wrong. It's just, you need to understand that if you have a high ticket offer, what a high ticket offer is a bundling together of a whole bunch of small ticket offers that do a big thing. And what the low ticket offer should be, and this is where a lot of people struggle, what the low ticket offer should be is the bundling together of all the things that ultimately get you to the high ticket offer, so that people say, oh, I just want you to do it for me or do it with me instead of me doing it for myself. Now, here's the beauty of how this all works in the space with, like, if we're talking about specifically a podcast, right? You don't have to worry about whichever type of product it is, because you're the podcaster. Your job is simply to put the information in front of people. And here's the beauty for the joint venture partners that you're going to be working with. They don't care so much about advertising with you if you do it the right way, because what you're not advertising, you're not saying, pay me to advertise on my show, pay me to, no, what you're saying is, if I sell something, right, this is more affiliate marketing. They don't care how many advertisers they have if they only have to pay when they get a client. Because anybody that's been in business knows what really sucks is spending money and not getting a client. I will happily spend money for a client.
It's good. That part. So, okay, now we promise y'all we're not going to give y'all all 30. We'll keep a sheet. You know, you DM us, all right, send some information to our email or something like that, and then we'll get it to you. But we will give you some that you can apply like today. Remember how I said learn, create, get paid. Learn it today, create from it by this afternoon. Why do I do it in such a compressed time frame? It's the law of Parkinson's, right? Is you will get done whatever you need to get done in the time allotted for it.
Right.
So a day allows you, and also life happens, right? You
Right.
get, I got that idea. You see another video, I got this idea, and you don't do anything because you're paralyzed with
Yeah.
too many choices. So learn, create, get paid in a day.
So
In
to be
fact,
clear,
I
we're
should
going to
probably
give
say that.
you a kind of our top 3 or 4 today because we want you to be able to walk away and actually apply something. But if you reach out, you'll be able to get the whole list of the things that we brainstormed and all the things that are out there. But for those of you all that are just listening today, the key is take something that you hear today and go apply it.
Okay, now here's one, and I do a lot of these personally. And Rob keeps saying, man, teach people how to do this. So this one right here, this is what I'm also recommending to her is Coffee for Coaching. Now there is a site that it's like the Patreon approach, it's like the tip jar approach. Y'all seen these different things, but this one's called Get a Buy Me a Coffee. I'll leave a link to this. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll leave a link in the description field. If you're seeing it on Facebook, then I'll put a link somewhere. If you're
Put it in
seeing
the
it on
comments.
TikTok, or TikTok's not gonna let you do anything. But anyway, Coffee for Coaching. So this is what you're doing then is saying, hey, look, she is certified best-selling author, all kinds of stuff, right? All kind of credentials. So I'm saying, hey, listen, every single day, could you do a coffee for coaching? Now I do it personally. If y'all hear this, you can use it. Fine. Coffee for coaching, whatever it is. I don't care if you're a gardener, if you know how to cut lawn the best than anybody in the neighborhood, right? I would watch that video. I might buy that thing, and all I gotta do is give you some coffee. Heck, that'll work. But it's an intro in. So every single day, and I want to be clear. The reason why we're saying 30 days is because the goal is, and the goal that she had was, I need to generate some revenue. And I need to generate revenue fast. So what we're doing is fast tracking stuff. Now, if you says, hey, listen, I got time, I got a year, I got 6 months, I got whatever, or I got a good job, or whatever. But I'm saying to the degree you want to eat, and to the degree you want to feed your family and send your kids to put your kids to school, is the degree that you will put in this work. I told my wife this the other day, and she was like, dude, you're kind of being intense. I says, but to the degree you need to, you will do this stuff. I'm telling you, we've heard it time and time again. People put in the work. I was recounting on a live today about Sylvester Stallone, that whole story about he painted the windows, and in 3 days he wrote Rocky, and that started his whole thing. Right? But anyway, so Coffee for Coaching is a digital doorway. And this is what Rob tells me. He says, man, you got to teach people more about these digital doorways to dollars. Right? And I used to call it, digital real estate, but people kept saying, oh, real estate, building? No, not a building. A digital doorway to dollars. So here it is. That's one. These consults, because she's in that trauma space, which, Rob, when I looked it up and I saw that the being like trauma informed, all these different things, it was so searched out. I didn't realize it, right? I didn't realize, I knew that people were, a lot of trauma and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't realize that as a keyword, it was very well searched out. So we know that she's in the right niche. She's saying the right words. She's getting traffic. So I'm thinking that these Coffee for Coaching could be trauma consults. That will generate revenue. People just come in, and you don't have to be regional, y'all. You can go wherever people can get into a Zoom to get this trauma coaching from. Then you hit them up with all the credentials. Then they go out there and find all these different digital doorways that you created because they will search you out.
Right. And I want to dig into that just a little bit because a lot of times what people feel like is, well, my entire coaching is worth so much more than that. Realize it. And this is what goes back to what we were talking about, right? You got to break the things down into digestible chunks. You got to break it down so that people understand that they can get what they need and then they can get the next step. Because one of the biggest things that I've learned, and I struggle with this as an entrepreneur because I always want it. Like I know what I want to do. I want to find the people that want to do that, pay me, and then I'll go be awesome. That's always how I kind of thought about it. And what I realized was there's a time period that it takes for people to learn that you're as awesome as advertised, that they want to spend the money with you for you to be awesome. There's all that time that they've got to go through. And so one of the things that allows them to stay in your orbit long enough to build the trust with you that you can actually do what you say is to experience you in little bits and little bites. Now, a lot of times they may experience you in little bits and little bites for free, and that's great. But now they got to go search and find, and you got to be really good at getting them all the free stuff. Or you can take that same energy and give them the opportunity to pay you a little bit. And we have a service with our nonprofit where, right, one of the things that we do is we have a scholarship program for moms who are getting ready to have a baby, want a doula, but can't necessarily afford it. We have a scholarship program that we give scholarships and pay for the doula services for the moms. Then we have another program where what we do is just help moms who know how and can pay for doula services, right? We help them to find and source doulas because there's a lot more of those moms that we can't service in our program because we'll be full. But that doesn't mean that we can't still help them. And so what we do is we help them, and we've partnered with a couple of the government agencies so that our staff gets paid through grants and everything to help people find other people. You can do the same thing with the coffee, yes. Right? Buy me a coffee. You don't need to work with me. You might not be able to afford me. You might not be my client, the type of client that I work with, a whole bunch of things. But I also know that I have a database of other providers because I'm in this space and you're not. And I can give you a consultation that helps you find the perfect person. And that service can be a coffee or 10 coffees.
Consults, coffee for connections, coffee. And you're seeing where I'm doing here, y'all. And let's be clear. The Buy Me a Coffee is a link, a service that allows people to come in and do this thing. They take their fee and they send you the rest. That's the point. All right. So here's one. She's written a book. So of course, what am I telling her to do is break that book up into bits. I have found, I was listening to Naval Ravikant once, or reading something on his stuff. And he says, and I used to read books from left to right. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't finish that book and I'm feeling all funny because I didn't finish the book and I'm not a finisher. And he says, yeah, stop that. He basically said, you read enough to get an insight. You read enough to get an inspiration. You read enough. Now, Naval, I apologize if I'm, saying it out of order or whatever, right? But in other words, you read enough, you can open the book anywhere, read until you get a aha moment, put it down. Now that's what I do. So I'll pick it up and I'll go, okay, I just picked up Steven Pressfield's book, The War of Art. The War of Art, yeah. There it is. The War of Art. So I just picked this one up again. Break Through the Blocks and Win Your Inner Creative Battle by Steven Pressfield. Nice. Right? And it's so digestible, y'all. If you think about the insides, these are digestible chapters, man. I can read that. And So, okay. So here's the next idea. Take pieces of stuff that you already have, that you've already created. I don't care if it's a video, it's a podcast, or whatever it is. And then we're going to get it transcribed. I'll show you all the tools. I'll leave some in the description field, or if you're sending us some DMs or whatever, then I'll get those tools to you as well. You then take bits of it. Now that we have AI and GPTs, whether you're using ChatGPTs, whether you're using some of the newer ones, whatever, it doesn't matter. Gemini, I don't care. You then take it and says, hey, from this section, what am I trying to say here? What am I doing here? Can you expand this for me? Can you create this for me? And it will, just from your work. You're not asking it to create some magical mystery kind of thing that is plagiarizing and using other people's stuff, just from your stuff. So that's one of the other ideas. I'm saying, let's take bits and pieces of stuff that you've already created and then recombine it, repurpose it, and put it out there for sale. Now, this is, again, 30 ways in 30 days to make some Ks. Right? Whatever K is thousands, everybody knows that, right? So that becomes the deal. So now, okay, Rob, they have created this thing. They've got us something. It took them an afternoon. It took them a day. How then, and we're going to share a couple ideas, how then will they get leads into it? What should they do?
Right. No, that's a great question. And so the biggest thing that I would say, and it took me a long time to learn this, is you want to go to where the leads are instead of trying to find them where you are. And what I mean by that is if I'm hungry and I want to get something to eat, I go to a restaurant or I go to the grocery store. In both of those places, I know that I will find food. Now I can go to the tire shop. It's a store and it might have some food in it. But the likelihood that there's food there is a lot slimmer than if I go to a grocery store or if I go to a restaurant. And similarly, you got to think about where these types of clients already hang out. So if you talk about somebody is doing trauma informed care, where are her clients most likely going to be? And most likely going to be at places that already service. So if you think mental health centers, if you think behavioral health centers, if you think doctor's offices, if you think healthcare industry in general, this is the place where these are the places where you're going to find this. Which you also think support groups, right? So you think about your AA meetings, your Narcotics Anonymous meetings, you think about all these different types of support groups that are there for people who are struggling with different traumas. And then you can go, if you don't want to go in person, you can look on Facebook. There's a whole bunch of trauma informed groups all over the place, right? And then there's trauma providers again. And these are people that already are speaking to the audience that you're trying to speak to. So you don't got to go and find them because they've already set up a meeting or set up an event or set up something. So your people are there. So that's my idea is go. And one of my mentors said it this way: go fish in the barrels. It's a lot easier than fishing in the ocean.
See that part, right? And as a person that just yesterday spent all day fishing, all day, and caught 41 fish, nice fish, nice eaters. I got a couple bass. I already ate them. But anyway, so then I know that, and this is one thing that I'm literally starting a channel. Rob, talk me out of it. Fishing in business.
I like it.
Why? Because fishing videos, I watch them to the end. I love them. Now I'm just doing my thing. Fishing in business. And I'm going to talk about the parallels between the two. Here's fishing. Isn't it like creating a funnel? Isn't like Rob just says, go where they already are. So in business, wouldn't we already go where customers are already buying? Yes. Interesting.
It's one of the first questions the fishermen ask each other: where are they biting?
Hey man, where are they biting? And we lie and says over there. Take your butt over there. I've been telling so many people about my spots. Now the spots are dry. So my point is, fishing in business, look for it. It's coming. And I'll probably take off the G and say fishing in business. I already got it set up in my mind. So my point is that, okay, here, he's heard with Rob. These are where people already are. Now let's dig a little bit. Let's dig a little bit more, right? Did I say dig a little bit more? I meant, let's stir this up a little bit more. So get this. Just the other day for a client, I did a Yellow Pages using AI to dig in to the Yellow Pages, yellowpages.com, to get leads. Oh my gosh. I did the video. I haven't released it yet. So I did, this is what I did, Rob. I went to the yellowpages.com and I'm gonna show y'all this, right? I asked ChatGPT, I says, listen, I need you, when I get all of this information, to put it in a particular format. Suggest other places. So if I release the video, or just grab the information right now, learn, create, get paid, figure it out, send me a note, whatever you need to do, send me a pigeon. I don't care. Put a note on its foot, tap it. It'll tap on my window and says, hey, could so-and-so is saying, could you share more about that? Go over there, then put the list. I did this, handed it off to my client. They were looking like, oh my gosh. Now, the information is already out there. The means by which they were getting information was hard, right? They weren't they were going to a tire store looking for groceries. And I says, no, go to the grocery store to get your groceries. Here's how. And then all I did was use a little AI to format it and then
Mhm.
suggest other things. So now I got a list. Then I told it to create a CSV file for me. It created the CSV file, right? Tell me if it's rated this, that, and the third. Tell me what kind of ratings it's getting. So now when I call the clients, it says, well, you used to have a top rating with XYZ. Is there anything that we can do to help you get back to that, whatever it is? Now, in this case, you're going to be going into for this particular case study, only areas that speak about what Rob is talking about, right? Now, those are the obvious ones, but there's some people out there hurting and not talking.
Mhm.
They're on Facebook trolling people, whatever they're doing, but they're hurting. So you then could find them there by putting and being found for what you do.
Mhm.
So now in that space itself, in that niche itself, it's subsetted off into ways that you could just make a good living and eat for a long time, right? Being trauma informed, being informed in this area, category, whatever, and eat from that for a while. Then over here, create another program for become trauma informed on how to get over this, that, and the other. All right. Now, y'all with
Mhm.
it? Everybody with? So hey, listen, if y'all listening to this and you're getting value, I'm going to leave a link to buy me some coffee. So if you say, you know what, that brother, he just gave me some. And if Rob's got his, I'll say Rob's buy me a coffee link. Randy's buy me a coffee link. And I'm not going to get jealous if he gets more coffee bought for him. You know, I've had my coffee today. It helps us do these things. Trust me, caffeinated courage. But anyway, so Yellow Pages lead list. Come up with a list of, and what I did and talked to her about was say 100 people, right? That's the rule of 100. If by the
Mhm.
time you get and call on in the means by which you call on them, email, phone calls, you will get business. I mean,
Mhm.
because it's 100. If you stop at 78, maybe not.
Mhm.
97, hopefully by then you've done some things, but in the last three could be the ones that do it for you. All right.
Yep.
How about lists? If you got an email, and I know you got an email list, you just don't think you got an email list. We call it
Mhm.
Messenger.
Yes.
You look in your Messenger, only one person that I was talking with in this particular way says, yeah, I don't mess with Facebook. They had no list. I was like, you don't have a list? Yeah, but I mess with TikTok. Okay. So they're on social media, just not Facebook. In this case, Messenger is a means by which to easily go where people already are. And you can literally put a little thing together saying, hey, listen, I am forming this, I'm having this talk on. If you know anybody, don't say them. Hey, if you want to come, people are going to say to themselves, that's me. I'm suffering from this, that, and the third. Right.
Mhm.
And it may not be a big thing. It's a trauma. It could be a trauma that is stopping them from getting to next steps, whatever it is. You're going to help them break free because you know you're a best-selling author, you have certifications, blah, 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 blah. Right. Now, that's your list. That's one. So you're going to go to idea. You're going to go to a list that you already own and send a message to them. Now, lists look like email list. They look like
Mhm.
SMS lists. In other words, people on your phone, right? And that people on your phone know people.
Yep.
Ah, let's see if I got this right. Hey, send this to 5 people you know. Send this to 3 people you know, right? I mean, this ain't no MLM junk where you're going, hey, I need to find out 3 people. No, we're talking about getting people help. And if you
Mhm.
say, hey, look, I'll pay for it because they're bugging me to death. I'll pay for it. Okay, gift it to them then. Because you, as the person that's generating revenue, how you get your money, well, who you get it from, well, it could be an
That
aunt, it
part.
could be an uncle that says they need help. I am sponsoring them to get this help from you.
That's so important. And Peter Thiel talked about this in Zero to One, his book Zero to One. He was talking about he's one of the co-founders of PayPal. And he was talking about how they figured out how to accelerate how many people were opting into PayPal. And one of the things they looked at was what's the driver of the group that they were going after? And one of the drivers was money. And they were like, how about we pay people to try the service? Because they knew that if they tried the service, they would like it. And so they would just pay. They were like, we'll pay you and your friend if you introduce this to your friend. So there's a natural incentive for me to introduce it because I'm getting some money. And the friend is getting it for free, so they're getting some money. And it worked like gangbusters but what PayPal knew was the people who were taking the service, once they liked it, they were going to continue transacting on the service, which was better than the other services they had. And PayPal was going to make that money back in spades in the first year. And so every year after that their clients used PayPal, it was pure profit.
Correct.
Right. And so you can do a similar thing. What Randy just talked about as far as making, offering it as a gift. One of the things that you can realize is sometimes people need to know that they can buy your service for somebody else. And that they can gift it to them. And all other times you can be giving away. Let's say you're giving away a free thing or a discounted thing. What you do is you have the people that are in your orbit. You allow them, especially your former clients, hey, who do you think would benefit from this? That if you were able to give them a gift, it would be beneficial. Because now they're not going saying, hey, you need to try this thing out. They're saying, hey, I got this gift for you. Right.
Yeah. Who would you nominate? Try that. Right. I heard that once. I heard somebody doing that, and they said after they make a sale, they go, hey, who would you like to nominate? And it's like, ooh, I could not find, I used GPTs to find another word that was as good as nominate, and I did not find one. Who could you nominate? Not who could you share, who could you nominate? So now they feel like, oh, I'm nominating someone. Like an award. Get that.
Exactly.
It's in the wording. Who could you nominate? And Rob, for what Rob does, Rob, he helps big businesses and, he's working with small businesses too. But for the most part, the big businesses, if they had a business that serves them, and I've seen this, that serves them, but they can't go take over the business. They got a whole business that within this business, you have egos. So you can't just tell them, y'all stink. Y'all ain't servicing us right. But if big business, nominated someone, a company like Rob's, to then help this company, they get the help for free. The big company gets a better business in the end. Think about that, big businesses, if you're all listening. Right. So here's another one.
That's it. It's how Toyota does it.
See, I thought that was my idea, and it's not.
Toyota comes in there like, hey, we'll work with you and we'll send over our crack team of Toyota production specialists to help you set up your business so that it runs properly. Now, Toyota does that because they're getting the stuff from the new business for cheap, but it's only worth it to get it from them for cheap if they do it the way Toyota needs them to do it. So they teach them how to do it.
TPS, Toyota Production System, right?
Yep.
Also known as other stuff. But anyway, here's another one. What about buying and borrowing lists? What if you went to, let's say you took 5 people. Now, remember, we said to the degree you want to eat and feed your family, send your kids to school, you will work. You will take these ideas, sit in a room, and do it, right? So you then are going to, let's say, people that have lists already, people that have IG accounts already, Facebook followers already. And if they're not too big and know the game right and know what to charge you, you may get it for pennies. Because what you need to do is get traffic over to and leads into your stuff. Right? And there are services that you can use for that. One I'm going to just share with you is Udemy. Udemy.com. I think it's UDI. Nope.
It's a different one.
MI. Right? Udemy, not the business.
Not the platform, the business platform or the business learning platform.
Right. Not that one.
Oh.
So Udemy is, you can go and guess what? You find people that all they do is cultivate lists, right? They farm, We've heard of that before, right? Lead farming, whatever. They
Hmm.
used to be called solo ads back in the day. Anyway, so you can go there, find people in your particular industry that have a list, and make a deal, right? You got to go through a couple of them to make sure that they're cool and they have a high list to conversion rate, blah blah blah, right? But do the
Hmm.
math, pay the money. It could be better than ads because you're getting specific to people that have already been out there searching for this, right? They
Hmm.
have farmed them, email farmed them already, and you just go, huh, that's where they are. Let me buy that. So that's buying lists. Borrow list. You got people online that have big lists that would love to put your stuff in front of their customers because guess what? It's user generated content. They don't have to create it. They will put it in front of their. I buy from these. If somebody I'm following, and I go, well, I trust you, so I like what you just put there. Okay, I'll check them out. You can do the
Hmm.
same thing, and typically it's not terribly expensive. You ask some questions like, oh, what's your open rate, blah blah blah, what's your typical conversion rate, and then you test this out. But let's assume that you got no money, you can't do all that kind of stuff, right? You go to LinkedIn, and you're going to be loving up on LinkedIn. I kid you not, leveraging LinkedIn like a boss, finding people in your area, not area, but in your area expertise,
Yep.
right? You're going to leverage it, and you're going to start talking to people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And here's one, and just to give you all a quick how on you do that. So if you go to LinkedIn right now, you go to your own profile. If you have one, if you got 10 people that you know, if you got 100 people or 500, that's even better. But what you can do is you can then go and search when you click on your profile and your connections. You can search your connections for their second order connections or people that they are connected to by industry, by location, by region, by specialty, by job title, and you can figure out who you want to meet that's 1 degree separated from you. And then you just go focus in that space. You find 5, 10, 15 people that you want to meet, that you want to get emails to, that you want to do something with, and then you go through and you start reaching out. And the beauty of it is you can just go in there and like, oh, you know so and so, I know so and so as well. Would love to expand my network. Boom. And you're in.
Yeah.
And so it's not like one of the things that I think a lot of people struggle with, and I struggle with this a lot too, just going out and trying to figure out who to reach out to, how to get in touch and all the rest of that. And it feels like, right, Randy has this saying, like it feels like boiling the ocean, right? It feels like there's just so much, it's overwhelming. The thing that I would tell you all is you want to break it down into pieces that feel manageable and that you
Scoop.
can do consistently.
Take a scoop. Yep. Of the
So you
ocean.
take a scoop. You can take a scoop every day and you
Yes.
can boil a scoop every day. And over time, you'll get more effective and more efficient. And so you can start doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 scoops. But if you can just be consistent with boiling a scoop of the ocean every day, you will get so much done that you need to get done and you won't feel that overwhelmed. So that's one thing that's helped me. Right. I started off, I just would find 10 people a day that were in my network. Right. 10 people a day is 50 people a week. Then I was able to double that. Now it's 100 people a week. Right. Really quickly, you've reached out to and you've gotten connected to over 1,000 people, 2,000 people that are
Yeah.
right in the network and the grouping that you need to be in. So it doesn't have to be a bunch. I just wanted to leave you all with that because it's important to not feel like you got to do all of this stuff all at once.
Right. And that because that can lead to overwhelm. What we're also talking about is how you can then again take it's something Rob said. He says the market doesn't need to necessarily be better. It just needs to be digestible information.
Mhm.
So, so you may go in there and go, oh my gosh, I gotta, save the marketplace. No, you may just say, I need to put in this marketplace small bits, small scoops that then help people do that.
Yeah.
And for this particular case study, we've just shared some ways, and we're going to definitely send this podcast to her so she can, take out the bits and pieces and stuff like that. And she gets, of course, more. She gets the other 20 something ways that 20 something ways that she could do this really, really fast. But we want you to hear this and be able to take out your scoops, take out your bits and pieces and put it to work, learn it, create it, get paid from it. And we'll be here to help you in any way we possibly can. All right, that's it, everybody. We're gonna call it a day. Rob's got to run, and we will see you on the next one.